The grand marble halls of Preston Academy were filled with music, laughter, and the sound of people celebrating. I adjusted my simple black catering uniform and quietly carried a tray of food, trying not to attract attention. Across the room, my older brother Nathan called out loudly, "Jack, the shrimp cocktail is running low at the VIP table. Try not to embarrass me." I smiled to myself. If only Nathan knew who was really about to be embarrassed. Tonight was Preston Academy's 10-year reunion. Successful graduates had returned to celebrate their careers and enjoy another evening among the country's wealthiest and most influential people. Nathan had graduated from Preston with honors. He was proud of everything the school represented. This morning he had insisted that I come as part of the catering staff instead of attending as his brother. "It's better this way," he had said while adjusting his expensive Rolex. I don't want to explain why my little brother dropped out of college and spends his life hiding in a basement lab. He had no idea that my basement laboratory had just produced one of the greatest medical discoveries in modern history. As I walked toward the VIP table with fresh champagne, I heard Nathan introducing his classmates. "Look around," he said proudly. "Doctors, investment bankers, CEOs, surgeons. This is what success looks like." Then he laughed. "And then there's my brother Jack. He couldn't even finish his first year of college." Several guests smiled politely while I quietly poured champagne into their glasses. None of them knew that the folded research paper in my pocket would soon change medicine forever. 3 years earlier, everything had been different. When I told my family I was leaving college, Nathan had been furious. "You can't be serious," he said. "After everything Mom and Dad sacrificed." I tried explaining my research into cellular regeneration. I told him I believed I had found a breakthrough. I only needed more time. Nathan shook his head. "This is exactly why you should have gone to Preston Academy. They would have taught you discipline. Instead, you're wasting your life chasing impossible dreams." "It isn't impossible," I replied. "My early results are very promising. If I can find funding. Nathan laughed. "Who would invest in a college dropout?" That day I left home carrying only my notebooks and my determination. To support myself, I worked nights as a laboratory technician. Every spare dollar went toward buying equipment. Every free hour was spent researching, while Nathan climbed the corporate ladder. I quietly built my future. Back at the reunion, Dr. James Morrison, one of the country's most respected medical researchers, spoke to the people around him. "Has anyone read the anonymous paper about cellular regeneration?" My heart skipped a beat. Nathan waved his hand dismissively. "Probably another researcher looking for attention." Dr. Morrison shook his head. "Actually, many scientists believe the author may have solved one of biology's greatest challenges without thinking." I spoke. The researcher approached the problem from a completely different direction. Nathan turned toward me. Immediately, the catering staff shouldn't interrupt important conversations. But Dr. Morrison smiled. "Let him continue. You seem familiar with the work." Before I could answer, the ballroom doors opened. Everyone turned. Alexander Chen, the CEO of Chen Biotech, entered the room. She was one of the most powerful people in the pharmaceutical industry. She wasn't expected for another hour. She walked quickly across the ballroom. "Dr. Morrison," she called. "I believe we've found our mystery researcher." Nathan immediately stepped forward. "Welcome to Preston Academy." She barely looked at him. Instead, her eyes stopped on me. "Dr. Jackson Roberts." The room became completely silent. Nathan's champagne glass slipped from his hand and shattered across the marble floor. I reached into my pocket and removed my research paper. "I believe you wanted to discuss my discovery." Nathan stared at me in disbelief. "What is happening?" Dr. Morrison quickly took the paper. As he read, his hands began to shake. "This is extraordinary." Alexander Smiled. The research solves a problem scientists have struggled with for decades. It's worth billions. Nathan looked completely confused. This can't be real. My brother is a college dropout. He works in a laboratory. I do, I answered. I work there to finance my own research. I removed my catering apron. The laboratory isn't just where I work. I own it. Nathan slowly stepped backward. You own it. For the past 3 years, I've been developing a new method of cellular regeneration. Dr. Morrison looked up from the paper. The mathematics are brilliant. The biology is elegant. How did no one think of this? Alexander answered before I could. Because everyone else followed traditional thinking. Sometimes the biggest discoveries come from people who aren't trapped by old ideas. Nathan's face turned pale. But you dropped out. I left college. I never stopped learning. I looked directly at him. I accepted this catering job tonight because I wanted to know whether you had changed. I wanted to see if you finally judged people by their abilities instead of their job titles. He lowered his head. Around the room, dozens of guests searched the internet on their phones. Within minutes, the headlines appeared. Scientists around the world were praising the breakthrough. The discovery was already being valued at more than $4 billion. Nathan looked at me. Why didn't you tell me? I smiled sadly. I tried. 3 years ago, you left. You asked who would ever invest in a college dropout. Alexander placed a contract on the table. Chen Biotech would like to invest $3 billion. You'll also receive royalties on every future treatment. The ballroom exploded with excitement. The same people who had ignored me all evening suddenly wanted to introduce themselves. Dr. Morrison spoke next. Would you consider leading research at my institute? Alexander smiled. Or perhaps joining Chen Biotech. I looked at both offers. I'll accept one condition. Alexander nodded. Name it. This treatment must remain affordable. I don't want people suffering because they can't afford medicine. She smiled warmly. I hoped you'd say that. That's exactly why we want you. Nathan slowly sat down. His confidence had disappeared. Well, you were building business connections, I said quietly. I was building something that could save millions of lives. A different kind of success. 1 month later, the new Chen Biotech Research Center officially opened. My small basement laboratory had become one of the world's most advanced medical facilities. Clinical trials were already producing encouraging results. Nathan called many times. Sometimes he wanted business partnerships. Sometimes investment opportunities. I ignored most of them. Then one day a package arrived. Inside was his Preston Academy class ring. There was also a handwritten letter. Jack, I was wrong. I judged people by their schools, their money, and their status. You judged people by their ideas and their character. I finally understand what real success looks like. I'm proud to call you my brother. Nathan, I quietly placed the ring beside my old research notebook. The notebook was far more valuable to me. As I looked around my laboratory, scientists worked together to improve the treatment. No one cared where I had gone to school. No one cared that I had once worked in a basement. They cared about one thing: saving lives. Sometimes success isn't about proving your critics wrong. Sometimes it's about staying true to your dream until the world finally sees what you believed all along.